Welcome everyone to this very, very special occasion for us here at the university, an event that is very much designed to be a celebration of Lord Claus Moser, his life, his interest in statistics, and importantly, his contribution to Keele University. This event has been jointly organised with the Royal Statistical Society, and it's a great pleasure to welcome their current president, Professor Peter Diggle, who I'll introduce more formally in a little while when he tells us a little bit more about the life of Lord Moser. I'd also, though, specifically like to welcome two groups of people. First of all, Lady Moser and the members of the family. It's a great privilege to have you here. I didn't have the pleasure of meeting Lord Moser, but it's fantastic that you're here. Thank you for taking the effort to all come this evening. It's also, I've already commented in the other room, it's also slightly nerve-wracking for me this afternoon because we have two former Vice-Chancellors of Keele University in the room. And it's a great pleasure to welcome both Brian and Janet back to Keele. They having been invited, obviously because we enjoy their company, but also because they were the two Vice-Chancellors that were in that role while Lord Moser was indeed Chancellor here for the period that he was. Before I introduce Peter, who's going to tell us a little bit about the life of Lord Moser, I want to take the opportunity to welcome you to the Institute of Liberal Arts and Sciences. This is a new institute that we've launched just this year. We think it's an important marker for the university at a time really when people are beginning to question the whole issue of whether our young people are specialising a little bit too early in their careers, and actually set against a context where Keele University was very much set up with the idea of a liberal, broad education, and one where our various models of education have tried to follow that. To be frank, in the face of a bit of adversity, because 17-year-olds have got on this roller coaster of wanting to specialise early. So our classical models of some of the breadth of education that we provide here have had to be reviewed over the last few years for various reasons. But we're keen to maintain that tradition. And one of the roles of the Institute is indeed to be the host of new degrees in liberal arts and in natural sciences to make sure that we maintain that ethos within the university. It's also, though, very much a home for a broad academic debate. So we're trying to bring back to Keele Hall that sort of centre of academic debate, that multidisciplinary approach to things that we pride ourselves on in Keele. We're a small university, or a university on the small side. One of the things that we should be able to do much better than many of the big civic universities is actually bring people together from different disciplines. And the Institute of Liberal Arts and Sciences is one of the ways in which we're trying to stimulate that sort of level of debate, in part, for example, through our lectures based on some of the grand challenges. I think that's very appropriate for this evening, not least in terms of when you look at the life of Lord Moser that we're going to hear about. The broad spectrum of both his interest and expertise is both mind-boggling and slightly embarrassing when you look back at yourself and see what you can achieve in your own lives. John became National Statistician, head of the Government Statistical Service, the GSS, and Chief Executive of the UK Statistics Authority in July 2014. So he still considers himself a little bit of a new boy in the job. His role is formally quoted, I think, as the production and publication of high-quality official statistics, ensuring that happens by all departments, agencies and institutions in the UK. Now, there's a challenge if ever there was one. And on appointment, I think he described his role as ensuring that there was a mobilisation of the power of data to help make better decisions, exactly as Peter has described it. His career began in 1980 when he joined the civil service after graduating in geography and statistics from Exeter. Can't always get everything right, can you? And after several statistical research and policy roles in different departments, he he joined the Central Statistical Office as a senior civil servant in 1992. He was indeed the project manager for the creation of the Office for National Statistics and was the policy lead on the development of the GSS. He's worked on a whole variety of projects that I can't really go into all of the detail. And in 2004, he became the 14th librarian to the House of Commons, where he served for 10 years before taking up his current position. So I'm sure a very eminent statistician, scientist, civil servant. And as I say, it's a great pleasure to welcome John and invite him to deliver his lecture on statistics and public policy. John.
Thank you all very much, and thank you particularly for that introduction. I designed and thought about this lecture very much as a tribute to Claus, but not as a tribute looking backwards, as a tribute to try and reflect the inspiration that I have received from him as a mentor, but also as an example. But I hope also in giving the lecture for each of us to think how his story can inspire us, whatever we do, and for the community of Kiel to think how his story can inspire the university into the future, and for the whole of our kind of collective of statisticians to think hard about how we can make the same kind of journey that he made and make our discipline more and more influential, particularly in the realm of public policy. So to begin, I think we have to begin at the beginning with Claus's start in the country in 1936 as a Jewish German refugee. And as Peter's already indicated, that is a pretty low starting point, particularly when, amongst many thousands of others, he was interned in 1940 to Huyton, not so far away from here, but the place that was to become the constituency of, I think, one of the great partnerships between statistician and politician, if not the greatest partnership between statistician and politician, the constituency of Harold Wilson. But he found himself, with many thousands of others, in an internment camp, and people trying to think what to do with their time in that situation. And the happy coincidence, there were many good things going on in there, as I understand, including music, including many other things that I'm sure piqued Claus's interest as a teenager, trying to think about what to do with his hours. But one of the things the internees did was to set up a statistics office. And Claus became the statistical assistant. And I have this picture in my mind of the teenage Claus, probably a little bit earnest, going up to people with a clipboard, maybe, no, going up to people with a clipboard, but being impossible to resist, with a kind of determination coupled with charm that would enable people to reveal information about themselves, that he would then collate with a great fascination into an insight into the whole population of the people inside that institution. But from everything I know of him, that's what drew him first into statistics. So he was only there for a few months, and then he was able to take up the opportunity to be an undergraduate at LSE.